What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Investing Bros Saturday show. We've got a lot to talk about. Is it altcoin season? Are the coins about to take off? Of course, Bitcoin had its week last week, rallying like crazy. A lot of altcoins actually had pumps as well, but that Bitcoin dominance just skyrocketed up above 54%. Is that going to increase, or is it time for the alts? We're going to be talking about that and a whole lot more. Also, Bitcoin miners have a big decision to make. We're going to talk about that in the news section. So make sure you guys strap on in for the entire show. It's going to be a great one because it's also the Saturday edition, which is always fun. And I'm seeing a couple people in here already that have not smashed the like button. So you guys need to smash that like button. But yesterday we had a lot of fun, had a lot of jokes, some at my expense. I'm learning now when I read chat that I must assume it is probably something inappropriate. So I'm going to have to proofread chat before I say it out loud. Because I'm too innocent of a soul. And especially if Eric Wald and Crypto Trades are here, I have to be on my top behavior. Thank you for that chat, Mr. J. I'm not reading that out loud because that's inappropriate. That's very inappropriate. But I love you. I love you anyway. T-Shroom is here with me today on this fine Saturday. T-Shroom, how are we feeling this morning?
I am feeling good, Tim. Feeling better than I deserve, to be honest. If I had to relate it kind of to how I deserve to feel, I'd say better. So that's how I'm feeling. And it's Saturday. We love Saturdays here at the Investing Bros.
We do.
Yeah.
Well, you want to know part of the reason why I love Saturdays? Not only is this one of the most fun shows to shoot, it's also football week. Now, my team already played. My Virginia Tech Hokies beat the crap out of Syracuse, which was very, very, very nice. We're not going to talk about college football till the end of the show. I'll make some predictions for other games. But I just want you guys to know I'm riding high on this Saturday because my Hokies are back. And, and they're going to break my heart here in a couple weeks, probably when they lose to a team they really have no business losing to.
That's I Hokie the Gators can do as well.
I Hokie too, yeah.
The Gators are my team. I'm a huge sports fan of the Gators, and I love them. Fan. And I go to every game in the metaverse, which is really good. I do have a quote of the day. It is better to change an opinion than to persist in a wrong one. This one, another banger from Socrates. You got to love it.
I mean, come on. Socrates or Socrates. This is good stuff. Here's the thing, T-Shroom, and I've said this a lot before on this channel, but you got to get to a place in life where you're more afraid of being wrong than you're happy about being right. If you want to be right all day long and just defend your position and lose out on money or lose out on relationships or lose out on anything else in life, continue to do your thing. But at the end of the day, that's not the type of person I am. I am so afraid of being wrong that I go into every conversation saying, hey, I might disagree with you, but I'm actually hoping that you convince me to change my mind because I love learning. And I like being right. I like being right, but I'm more afraid of being wrong. So Socrates is right there. And again, the other thing is that's just good wisdom, T-Shroom, to talk to people and always be willing to change your mind on things. That's how you progress as a human being and develop intelligence and wisdom.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. I love that take, Tim. It was really good. And I wanna call to action our loyalists here, the core bros. If you would do me a favor, over on our X account, Twitter account, we also stream. But it's like we never get any views for some reason. So go over there and let's see if we can jog the algorithm. It looks like 2 people just joined with me saying that. So that's pretty cool. Let's see if we can jog the algorithm and get some views over there. Another thing
don't not watch on YouTube though. So just dual watch. Yeah.
We're trying to manipulate the algorithms. They manipulate the price. We're going to manipulate the algorithms. I was also going to point out this is just a great angle of Socrates. When I become a statued philosopher in the future, and I'm on every street corner, this is the angle.
Nothing but up the skirt shots for T-Shirt.
My up the skirt shot. Exactly. You got it, Tim.
Yeah.
You got it.
I'm tracking what you're putting
down
here.
What's more crypto than that? You know what I mean?
Goodness gracious. Oh, all right. Let's do this. Let's get into some crypto talk today. Let's start off with a little itty bitty bit of Bitcoin TA, but of course, we're going to be talking about altcoins, guys. So stay tuned for that. Bitcoin. You know, I had some drawings earlier. We've gotten rid of them. There's 2 different pennants that we saw play out that we broke support lines for both of them. in reality, though, we talked about this yesterday. While I still believe that we're playing out a Bart Simpson's pattern, I'm going to explain a little bit more. There's actually an article this morning that kind of goes a little deeper into potentially what's happening there. Let me spread this out just a little bit farther. This, theoretically speaking, could still be a flag. That's what we're looking at right here. You guys can see after wrestling very heavily with this mid-level. What is this called? I forgot what it's called, and I want to let people know. You can find it here on TradingView. Regression trend. There we go. Yeah. Regression trend. Really cool tool. We spent a lot of time above the mid level back here when we were back up to those highs, kind of double topping at 35.2. More recently, we kind of spent a lot of time all of yesterday pretty much below the mid level. And right now, after coming above it, kind of having a little bit of a fake out, lower time frames, you will see massive wick here on the volume that did kind of mark that perfect reversal. We're still wrestling kind of a little bit with staying right there above, but we could be dropping back below it here. Keep an eye on what's happening but this trend fusion perfect at telling you resistance, support levels, keep your eyes on. It'll constantly readjust. So if I were to go and only look at these candles, that's a completely different angle. But this now kind of tells you, hey, we've been trending this mid-level. We're using it right now technically as support. So potentially if you're looking for a very small little trade, day trading opportunity, we're coming back down to a little level of support. You don't want to use this by itself, though. I want to make sure I preface that. Make sure you use it along with oscillators, indicators. Again, you probably don't even want to look at the hourly chart. You're probably wanting to come all the way down here to the 5-minute chart with how this thing has kind of been in a tighter range. What we've seen on the 5-minute chart, mid-level, we could find some support right there. Let's take a look right here at some other indicators. Riding that dynamic reactor. Yeah, I would say there's a decent little bit of support. Do not be surprised, ladies and gentlemen. We'll check in on this. We're sitting right now right about 34,100. Don't be surprised if, as we're doing the show today, Bitcoin gets a little bit of a pump. I don't know how high. Probably keep your eyes somewhere around 34,200. I don't think we're going to get too much volatility while we're live here. But a little tidbit of Bitcoin for you. Still, though, I want to continue to kind of hark on this. Let's take this down. Still, though, we're kind of moving in that crab formation T-Shroom talked about the other day and potentially still rearing up for a good little Bart Simpson's pattern. This is playing out almost perfectly to something I drew the other day over on my Twitter handle. I think I put it in our Discord as well for all of our Discord members that are silver members. But don't be surprised to see the price action. I've lost that tool. I have to find it where you do actual straight lines. Kind of, come on now, Tim. Get rid of all these lines. Grab the marker. There we go. Coming back down here, kind of finding some volatility, making a push back up and making maybe one more desperate wick up here towards 36K, coming back down, finishing out our Bart Simpsons and moving to the downside. We talked about that a little bit yesterday. I'm not going to go into the details, but T-Shroom, you have a thought there?
Tim, I want to jump in because there's something called colloquialisms, right?
Yeah.
And so for our non-American listeners or listeners who don't know what the Simpsons are, perhaps Gen X, this is a Bart Simpson, right? Mm-hmm. This is a character from a popular cartoon show aired on Fox here in the United States, and as you can see, his head kind of looks like a chart, what a chart pattern could be that Tim is bringing up there on the lower time scale for Bitcoin. So just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention because we're trying to. This is our noob initiative in the new bull market here, part of our noob initiative.
Yeah, and if you guys if you're wondering, I said I wasn't going to do it, but just in case, I think T-Shroom makes a great point there. There's a good chance someone watches today's video that maybe hasn't watched our others and maybe doesn't even know what a Bart Simpson's pattern looks like. We talked about these yesterday. Here's a great example of one that happened. We actually see two different examples here back earlier this year. Here's a good example of kind of what we're seeing a Bart Simpson's pattern play out. It's a very lopsided Bart Simpson's pattern. But notice here, again, I just want to point out some things. We have a big rally. A very big rally, which coincidentally, I said this yesterday, this rally was based off of some hype coming out about Bitcoin ETFs. Does that sound familiar to anyone? Just want to throw that out there. ETF hype, then we start to trade in this sideways range. But notice right here, we come up, we send one wick here, 30,800. We then shoot up above 31.4, setting a new high for the year because the previous high was 31,000, right? And then we kind of play in that same range. We double top, pull back down, and then we make one good push up to a higher range, making up to 31,800. And then we start a very slow but methodical move to the downside, right? Bart Simpson's pattern, you're moving sideways, But at the end, you make one more good surge to a new high, you move downwards, right? We had the same thing happen over here. All right, let me go to a smaller time frame to kind of show you what's happening here. Let me zoom back over to it. Back over here in April of 2023, we're going to kind of see a similar looking thing happen. Look, right here, back on April 10th, guess what happens? ETF hype. We rally up, we hit a high, we come back down, we hit another high, come back down, kind of play in that same area now several times. We make one good surge up to a new level, 31,000, and then begin a very slow but constant descent to the downside. That's a Bart Simpson reversal. This is a Bart Simpson reversal back here in July. And again, while it's too early to say for certain because there is potential and somewhat of a hope that maybe we're seeing a bull flag happen. The problem with bull flags and bull pennants is that they look the same as Bart Simpson's patterns until the reversal happens. So you kind of have to look at the charts here saying, all right, we either have a bull flag or we have a Bart Simpson. What is the other things to take into consideration? Well, we have this one right here that we have a CME gap sitting right above us at 36,000. Here's another story that we're probably going to discuss here just in a little bit, but I don't know if any of you guys saw this. Bitcoin miners are bracing for fourth consecutive difficulty surge amongst hash rate surge. All right, breaking this down just in case you guys are wondering, hey, Tim, why should we worry about that? When the hash rate goes up, this makes it to a place where Bitcoin wants to keep having the same amount of coins mined every single day. So there's a consistency to it. So there's this thing that they make it harder. They make it more difficult. The difficulty rises. There's two things that can happen when the Bitcoin difficulty rises. Number one, you see an increase in price because the demand went down. Well, we've seen that happen more recently. But the second thing would be this is going to make it harder or more expensive for miners to mine. So if they want to keep mining and keep that hash rate going to the upside, a lot of times you see miners take profits when the difficulty increases. So is this a nail in the coffin saying we have to reverse the downside? No, but we're seeing things like the hype seems to be wearing down. We're still looking at multiple months left until we get an ETF. When we're looking at the fact that our fear and greed index, we can go back to this one here, T-Shroom. Sorry, go back to my screen. After hitting up towards 72 the other day, then 70 yesterday, down towards 65, but still sitting in that greed category. Wait for one more good surge up, like I said, to 36,000. We increase, but when we see the greed sitting high, we see the momentum slowing down. We now also have the ability for BlackRock to start purchasing Bitcoin specifically for this ETF. There's a lot of things in the news and sentiment that would say, hey, it might be time for a move to the downside. But do not be surprised, again, to see a little bit of a fake out happen. That's one thing that is consistent with every single market is the moment you think you know what is going to happen, something else is going to happen. So while right now a lot of people are starting to turn in their sentiment, we saw the fear and greed index start to fall a little bit back to 65. We're seeing less massive bullish articles and a lot more articles coming out about a potential dip, right? That to me is the perfect catalyst to get this nice sprint to 36,000. People get bullish again. We just set a new high for the year, and then they drop the hammer on us. Price moves back down to the downside. But by that time, there's been so much volatility, you don't know what to believe. So that point, the institutional investors, BlackRocks, the ARK Invest, the Fidelities, they can all do what they actually want to do, and that is drop prices to buy Bitcoin at cheaper levels before an historical bull market coming your way in less than a year. Continue to think on all these things. I'm not saying it's over. We might see a push up to 40,000, but I'm seeing a lot more evidence pile up from not only the chart perspective, but a sentiment perspective that says, hey, I think one more good surge is coming. 36K looks very much in the card still, maybe a little bit higher than that. Maybe we don't stop right on the dot at 36K, but I don't think the markets are primed and ready yet for a 40K perspective. Now, we're going to talk about altcoin season here in just a second, but I want to throw it to T-Shroom. We can go back to BroCam and look at chat as well. What are your thoughts about that analysis, the sentiment, the charts? What are you kind of feeling the prices are going to be doing here very soon, T-Shroom?
I think they're going to be coming back down. I think that there's just, look, we got up here kind of because of a rumor and because what appears to be some kind of behind the scenes selling, right? There wasn't anything that's super strongly correlated with that big move to the upside for Bitcoin, like we talked about yesterday. And so, we have to assume that it was just whales. It was a moment for whales to have the liquidity and to go ahead and buy in. And it made sense because you had just had a pretty big green light from Larry Fink saying, Bitcoin is it's an option for a flight to quality, right? So to me, the psychology of the buyers that are in the market right now, that the buy, and I guess they're holders now, the buyers from last week, the holders from now, they are they're pretty big fish, right? And so they're more than likely in it for the long haul. But that doesn't mean that there aren't sellers. I think that there's sellers in the market right now looking to take some profits off of this big spike, but they've been waiting to see, is this going to go higher? Would it be a mistake to sell? And I think the longer that we're just kind of crabbing sideways, the longer that we're doing that, it's just more opportunity for kind of the short sellers, for the manipulators to get some liquidity together to make a push lower, to try and push things lower and ultimately sell so that they can get a better price lower. And that's, that's kind of what I'm tracking. And just like the analogy you like to use a lot, Tim, I want to be that sucker fish that doesn't try to, I'm not going to sit here and pound the table. Oh, the manipulators. Look, if you're in risk markets, there's going to be fish that are bigger than you. Sorry. Attach yourself to them. Don't complain about them.
Absolutely. French Toaster said, "We gonna damp." I think that means dump, but you never know these days with chat. I don't know. Did I just say something inappropriate as well? I don't know. You got to watch chat closely.
It was very appropriate.
Someone asked earlier in chat, Tim. I think it was Servando Estrada.
Servando Estrada. I haven't got to really tear into that name in a while. Love you, Servando.
Yeah, we love it. We love it. He said,
I'm
"Tim,
seeing some." Go ahead.
Well,
I got something on the charts, but
okay. Every time I talk, you want to say anything? You want to say anything now? Servando Estrada said, "Oh, I thought you were going to talk there." All right, here we go. All right. He
really hope the Gators do well this weekend.
Goodness gracious. Are you still over at Discover Crypto? I don't see you. I don't go there anymore. Okay, you don't go there anymore. Yeah, I'm still at Discover Crypto. We're putting out some great stuff. I'm doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes. Have not been on camera here more recently. That doesn't mean never. I will definitely be on camera from there time to time. But just so you guys know, love Discover Crypto. I know there's a lot of people with split thoughts about them. We're not getting into the details there. Great team, great people, great content coming out, and I'm part of that team. But Investing Bros is its own thing. Like, we are not owned by anybody. This is me and T-Shroom. This is not Hit Network. This
and
is
BlackRock.
We actually have somewhat of a deal. You guys are going to be seeing a lot more of me doing stuff with Paul Barron. So those of you guys who love Paul Barron, he's a good friend of mine. We've been talking now for a while. I'm going to be doing some more stuff with him as well. So you'll still see me from time to time on Discover Crypto, but I'm really excited about everything we're doing here with Investing Bros as well. I'm excited about some of our relationship we have with Paul Barron. So that kind of answers that question, Servando, but glad to have you in here. We love everyone being in here. Let's start talking now, T-Shroom. We're going to do some TA on altcoins as well, but do you have anything you want to close out on Bitcoin before we move on?
Yeah, I wanted to point out really quickly over on my charts, if you do a quick scan of kind of crypto, probably crypto market cap would be a good one to do this on, but on my watch list, boom. These are the AI names that are absolutely taking off right now for some reason. FET.ai to the upside, almost 13%, and AGIX up 10%. I mean, look at this. This is really good. This is this move started October 20th. This is kind of so this is kind of the flag that we're watching right now. The Bart Simpson. If you were to zoom in, don't want to go to Netflix. If you were to zoom in on the daily, the hourly here. You can kind of see where that Bart Simpson was forming. It was a kind of a different play out here for the AI names, but that has broken out. So that's going to be, and it's made a move all the way up to the premium there for Chart Prime. So yeah, that's all I was going to say.
That's all you're going to say?
FET.ai.
Let's
similar
do
move.
it. Let's talk altcoins, but first, T-Shroom, I don't want to delay this until 40 minutes into the show again. That was a mistake I made yesterday.
It was.
We need to get the trivia question of today's Fine Saturday. Let's see what it is.
All right. The Factoid Elf is giving me the trivia question now. When was the $ first used? The $, was it used in 1785, B, 1903, C, 1517, or D, 1843? Tim, what's your guess here, my man? Don't ruin your record.
So 1785, no, because we would have still been using sterling and stuff from England. Okay. Not 1517. We weren't even over here yet. I'm wrestling with I'm wrestling with B and D because I know I know in the early 1900s I've seen things where there were dollar symbols, but I don't know if it was there before that. 1843, of course, is sitting right there during the Civil War. So my question would be, oh, it's not during the Civil War. It's right before the Civil War. Excuse me. The Civil War started in 1860. I don't think they would have been using dollar symbols back then because they actually even had split currency then. So I'm going to go with B, 1903, but I could be persuaded it would be 1840. It's B or D. I'm going to say 1903 though. I'm going D.
Okay. Wait, you mean B?
What did I say? B. I'm going 1903 B. Yes.
B.
Excuse me.
1903. B. He's locking it in. We will find out later in the show.
Yeah.
If Tim is an idiot. Just kidding. He's not an idiot. We'll find out if he's right. Let's go to the charts.
Let's do the charts. Let's do altcoins. Guys, if you guys are enjoying the episode so far, some analysis of Bitcoin, its movements, the charts, smash the like button and hit subscribe. I've seen a couple of names in here that I have not necessarily seen before, so always love having new viewers in here. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button.
Funny comment mentioning being sponsored by BlackRock. For those of you who, I tend to be very sarcastic sometimes. I did sarcastically say, we're sponsored by Black. We are not. That is a very silly thing for me to have said. And for those of you who didn't pick up on the sarcasm, I don't want you to get the wrong idea about who we are at the Investing Bros. I know. I need to cool it.
Disappointed in you.
So excited.
Also, by the way, OC Pet Doctor said, not these guys. Thank you for that clarification. But there are influencers rolling out their own ICOs. Do not invest in those clowns. Here's the thing, guys. You do not have to ever worry about Investing Bros making coins. I don't think I'm intelligent enough to ever even want to attempt making my own coin. But even if I was, I would not. I've not seen one scenario where an influencer makes a coin and that ends up going well. So don't worry about it, guys. This is our promise to you right now. The Investing Bros will never mint our own coin.
Before you get too far into
ICO it.
Oh, okay. Because we do have the peanut butter and jelly coin.
If you guys are in our Discord, we have this coin. It was a joke of an idea that was made by one of our community members. We always joked about the peanut butter and jelly coin.
Yes.
That there was no thing. So he made one for us, and it has no monetary value whatsoever and has no use case. It's just a running joke inside of our Discord. So if you get over there and you're involved and you're active and you're talking all the time, you can get a free drop of PB&J from time to time. It brings you to the great price of $0.00. So I guess you're right. I promise you we will never make a coin that ever ascribes to US dollar value whatsoever.
Right.
So let's I guess we did need that clarification. All right, let's go ahead and talk about altcoins. But to talk about altcoins, T-Shroom, thank you for being on my screen. We got to start off here by talking about Bitcoin dominance. Now, we are down a little bit. We peaked up all the way to 54.35%, hovering right now at 54%. Here is the thing. It is not altcoin season when you see the Bitcoin dominance climbing this fast. The question is now, have we peaked at 54? You guys know that we've talked about it before. Well, I have a bet with DZ that I think that Bitcoin dominance could make it to 60% before we see a new all-time high for Bitcoin. I've recently said I would not be surprised to see a reversal between 55 to 57%. We're kind of close to that. Here's going to be the real question. Again, as we talked about before, I do believe a dip is coming for Bitcoin. I do believe we could see a surge up to 36K and then a fall back down. The question is going to be, do the alts fall as well? Because while several alts have outpaced Bitcoin, most of them, especially the larger ones, have lagged behind. And if the altcoins don't fall, even if they just stay still, we could see this Bitcoin dominance start to plummet. Or if we see the altcoins fall as well, we could see this Bitcoin dominance begin to surge. So we're really kind of asking the question, are we about to see a fall that sees the Bitcoin dominance continue to the upside? Or are we about to see a Bitcoin fall where altcoins stay the same or rally and Bitcoin dominance begins its descent? This is not uncommon, by the way, everybody, to see as a bull market starts, the Bitcoin dominance starts to take a little bit of a rally. And then when the bull market gets going for a couple of months, then we see it start to fall. If you were to go back here, remember Bitcoin started to get really exciting back in September, October of 2020. You will see, this is October. Look at what we have happen back here in October. We see a nice little rally, a small pullback here in November, but then a continuation up into January of 2021. Well, what happened in January 2021? That's when the altcoin started to take off. And of course, now you see the Bitcoin dominance begin to fall into that bull market, hitting it's pretty much its bottom right there at the peaks of May of 2021, right? So this is common It's very common to see Bitcoin dominant surges at the beginning of bull markets, but after about 2 months of delays, the altcoins say, you know what? It's our time. Let's take it over, right? The problem is, though, is it's not just the beginning of bull markets that do that. We've also talked heavily about back here. This started in April, picked up some more juice later on in July, but you can see this nice rally in Bitcoin dominance that was nowhere close to the real bull market. This is what we've talked about is the pre-bull market rallies. We've talked about this with Bitcoin's price. And then with a lot of different things happening at that time, it did have a little bit of a descent, moved back down, got ready for the real bull market and moved to the upside. There's a lot of things kind of moving on in early 2020 that I think this isn't the greatest depiction. But the question that we have to kind of ask ourselves right now is, are we seeing this newest rally be a pre-bull market rally, or is this the actual bull market? Time-wise, I have to go ahead and just tell you guys this is a lot more likely to be a move like the one we had back in March. I do think potentially this is not about to be altcoin season. It is still Bitcoin season. And even if we see a small pullback, I would not be surprised to see a stay above 48%, which is the last dip. You guys can see a lot of lows here. We had a low back here at right below 40%. You could call that one there, but let's go into this one, 42. We had another one here at 47. The most recent one at about 48, 49%. I would not be surprised to see a pullback, but not setting a new low on Bitcoin dominance. And let's take a look at some of the reasons why that is. Again, with my belief that I do think Bitcoin is about to have a retracement within the next couple of weeks, let's take a look at some of the biggest altcoins that would, be a part of what we would call an altcoin season. We have Ethereum over here, which has been one of the ones lagging behind Bitcoin. Really quickly, just got to jump over here. ETH over Bitcoin chart, very much moving to the downside. That's not altcoin season. That's Bitcoin season. Staying above levels that others have predicted we're getting down to, but we're still looking like a decent little move to the downside could be happening. I've kind of labeled down here a little bit below 5.05 Ethereum over Bitcoin is more than likely where we are headed. We are not down there just yet. And when you take a look at the ETH chart, remember I told you how close we were to potentially a Bitcoin reversal with maybe one last good pump over the $36,000 level and then a fall. Well, Ethereum has been in a little bit of its own falling trading channel. And you can see right here, we got all the way up to about 1864 just a couple of days ago, did not touch the red line. If Bitcoin gets a small pump, don't be surprised to see altcoins trail right behind. And I think there's a very real chance that we see Ethereum make a move up towards 1900. It's a good psychological level. It's sitting right here with some good resistance. You'll see when we pull up other indicators, even though we've had a reversal signal right here, you move into some smaller ones, and you're seeing a reloading event kind of happening on the oscillators right there on mid levels. Don't be surprised to see Ethereum come back up to 1900, but then get hit on that resistance right there as well. Let's pull up one more. I love looking at the market oracle. While we're wrestling in that red wave, we could make a move up almost to the top of it, touch that 1900, and then make a descension to the downside. So that's what I'm seeing here with Ethereum. Let's keep moving on. Let's take a look at some other coins like Cardano. For this one, I do want to move over to the log chart where we've had a little bit more. You can see once again, Cardano, very nice rally. Did not outpace Bitcoin. That's why we see Bitcoin continuing to move up in dominance. Again, this is another coin that has a lot of market control. So ADA over Bitcoin, we're having a little bit of a surge over the last couple of days, but as a whole, falling to the downside. Let's go back up to the Cardano chart. It also is not yet touching, but very, very close to a psychological level and a descending level of resistance. What is that? Well, that would be right here at about 30 cents. Look at, if I were to put a line, let's just put a line right at about 30 cents. And I want you to take a look historically, even more recently, at the significance of 30 cents. It has significance even back here in previous markets. You can see that wick way back here. Holy cow. Is that a volume wick or is that a price wick? It's a price wick. That price wick shot up there in September. Hesitations right here during the rally of January 2021 that really started the bull market off. We have support, resistance. This 30 cent level for Cardano, very, very important. You also will see as the resistance level of a bearish pattern. Guys, I don't know for certain if we're going to lose 24 cents. The Cardano community is very strong. We've been defending 24 cents for a long time now throughout this whole bear market. But this is not a good pattern. When you see falling levels of resistance, we're getting very close to that even as we speak, and flat bottoms here at 24 cents, a lot of times you see price action falling to the downside. I love Cardano. Cardano is going to be one of my largest bags, but I still see a 24-cent level coming at least one more time, if not a loss of that channel, because it's still Bitcoin season, not altcoin season, coming down towards that 18 cents, maybe even as low as the 13-cent zone. Even if you were to go ahead and play this out, the opening of this formation, this to the breakout is what would give us about a 13-cent Cardano. I'm not going to hold that perfectly. Again, these formations don't always play out to their fullest breakouts, but it's something absolutely to keep an eye on. And the other thing, a really conservative thing, I was actually researching this the other day. A lot of times you look at the openings of these formations, but even looking at maybe the last significant move, this moved over to the breakout is what would send us down towards that 18-cent range. So Cardano definitely not out of the woods. And even though it's had bullish formation, you always got to zoom out and take a look at broader things. We're below a very strong psychological resistance. We're below a descending level of resistance. Not going to be surprised if, similar to Ethereum and Bitcoin, we make one more good surge up here, hit our 30-cent target. There's technically even some levels up around 31 cents. So I'm not going to be surprised if we break slightly through 30, but don't close a daily candle above it and then make a little bit of a move to the downside. Taking a look at some other coins here. We're looking at XRP right here. XRP almost did something really special by breaking above this 55 to 57 cent range of resistance, but we couldn't hold above. In fact, we didn't even close one daily candle there. We closed back down at 55 cents and have been rejected. This is a coin I don't even know if we're going to make a push up to a new high. This was a lot based off of excitement because officially at this point, they now have deemed that the case between XRP, Ripple, and SEC is over. Now, there's some details there that potentially the SEC could still find a way to try and appeal. But my point here is I think that we're still staying below a very strong level of resistance here at 55 cents, maybe even as high as 57 cents. We could maybe make a push up to those levels, but I don't think it is time. The other thing that I really haven't mentioned, even when we're looking at these coins, continue to watch the insignificant level of volume right here. We saw it on XRP. You can see it on Cardano. We've seen some nice little pushes here more recently in Cardano, but a lot of times when you see volume start to increase as you approach those resistance levels, that's actually more of an indication that there's a lot more sellers coming into the space. What I want to see is increased volume as you break support levels. So can Cardano maybe make a push up here? Can we see high volume come up as a candle comes here, maybe bounce back down, use 30 support, and then move to the upside? If I see high volume with that move, very, very bullish. But high volume moving into resistance zone, that's not bullish, ladies and gentlemen. That is a very, very bearish move. I'm not saying that every single altcoin is going to go to new lows or go back down to significant lows. Chainlink is one I'm very, very happy with. I'm looking at this. Well, I'm happy with its price action in terms of being bullish. I'm very upset with its price action in terms of I wanted to buy more of it at $6. What I'm seeing here, let me go back here and spread this out, is Chainlink is one, and we've seen this happen before, that might actually, it might have its own little altcoin season. I think we're going to get a pullback down towards $9.50, but you can see by looking at its history, let's go way back to Cardano back here in 2018, 2019. Look at what we did back here, trading in a small range. We break above that range and never drop below it. We turn it into support. I think that's maybe what we just did here with Chainlink. Again, we had this nice little zone, several touches of resistance right here, but we explosively broke back through. $9.50, very interesting level to keep my eyes on. But that is one I'm probably more bullish on. However, I do not expect to see 100, 200, 300% rallies in Chainlink just yet. We're still waiting. Even when we go back here, notice, guys, we had that explosive rally on Chainlink. We pulled back down those levels, and then we chopped sideways all the way from July up into sideways really up until April, May of 2020. The explosiveness started July of 2020. This is one we could see maybe even take a little more excitement right before Bitcoin. If it follows its previous patterns, Chainlink is actually one of the earliest explosive indicators of bull markets. But that's not necessarily what we're seeing right here. We're just seeing the first explosion of a pre-bull market rally where we are going to be setting new higher lows, but the real bull market's continuing to start later in 2024. That's kind of where I'm sitting at it right now, T-Shroom, looking through coins. That's not all the altcoins. There's still a lot of them out there, but those are some of the big ones that I know our community really loves. They're really heavily invested in. That's what we're seeing right now, with the exception of Chainlink. A lot of these other coins, as nice as they have had pumps last couple of days, they're really just pumping up into very strong levels of resistance. And it's very much looking like this is not the time or the season for altcoins to get out of control. We still might be an entire year away from that. T-Shroom, I want to get your opinion and read some chat and see what they're thinking.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Tim. And I want to point out somebody in the chat, Crypto Seth, said, hey, boys, it's going to be a good time to kind of point out the fact that today is the day before tomorrow. And tomorrow is when this video collab that we did with Crypto Seth is going to be going live.
Yeah.
100x cryptos. We lay it all out here. Cryptos that make millionaires 100x potential. We had a lot of fun with Crypto Seth. Did you have fun in that interview, Tim?
No, I didn't. I had too much fun in that
Uh-oh.
interview because Seth is the greatest. You might say that I had more fun than I deserved in that interview, T-Shroom.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, no, I did want to point out one of my favorite alts that I've been DCAing into quite a bit here, and that would be Kaspa. So Kaspa really zoomed in here, but it is, it's been showing strength. It hasn't been taking off. In my opinion, it hasn't really taken off quite yet in terms of like kind of where the rest of the crypto market has been going, very, very up and to the right. I mean, obviously, Kaspa is going up and to the right here, but it's been doing that for a while, right? It's actually kind of bucked the greater bear market trend that has been kind of entrenched over the last couple months in crypto. So I think Kaspa is yet to do that. Now it's got a head and shoulders pattern actually being called out on it from Chart Prime, which is pretty interesting. And that's why I'm not fully invested in. Like I said, I'm kind of DCAing into Kaspa because I think that there's going to be a move down. And as Tim has pointed out in the past, these ascending triangles here, the ascending wedges. They do tend to break down. Statistically, was like 70% more likely that they're going to break to the downside first. Well, obviously, with the kind of the news climate and how things are shifting a lot more bullish for crypto, that could change. But that's why I'm staying nimble on Kaspa, but it's absolutely one to watch. Why? Because of this right here. There's seasons, right? There's phenomenons. We're talking about alt season today. There's narrative seasons. And right now, the big narrative is obviously AI. One of the reasons for that is because of this headline here, Microsoft's AI boost helped cloud business outpace rivals Amazon, Google in the latest quarter. So Microsoft, just these words alone are just circulating around the internet, getting people interested and excited about AI again. And that can and does translate into the crypto markets. I saw a comment, I think it was Wednesday of this week, somebody in the chat was saying, hey, could Microsoft's AI earnings beat, could that trickle into crypto? And I said no. And it looks like I was wrong. I was wrong. I was right that day, but I was wrong in the long term. I think that is why we're seeing a big pop here in the AI names. But the one that I'm excited, and I have AGIX, I don't have any FET.ai, but the one that I'm pretty excited about, Tim, is actually Kaspa. I think this has probably the most potential for that 100x. But this isn't even really one that we talk about with Crypto Seth. So we talk about some even potentially even better ones, some ones that have even more upside. So
and I think there are some, again, the video going out tomorrow with Seth is very, very very, very good. Like, and you guys need to go give it a watch tomorrow, show it some love, but also take a look at those projects, because when we talk about altcoin season, by the way, guys, what we're talking about is not necessarily the crash of Bitcoin and meaning like, oh, we have to see this. It's more like the altcoins as a whole are just outpacing Bitcoin. In fact, go back to my screen here, T-Shroom, what we're looking at, these are charts, total 2 and total 3. Now here, we've had a nice little surge over the last couple of days here, but still setting lower highs over on that trend. Total 2 includes every single altcoin, including Ethereum. Total 3, we're looking at one that does not include Ethereum. Breaking bullish out there, that's very nice right there. But as a whole, you're still seeing lower highs on those markets, and you're seeing the increase in volume come. I love that the volume's increasing here, but the volume's increasing as we're starting to hit our heads on some stuff. We have our overbought signals coming in here on the chart prime oscillator, a red reversal on the trend fusion. This is not necessarily what you're seeing when you're saying, hey, altcoin season is coming. In fact, when things start to fall, which I think they will, we're going to see these fall. We're going to see Bitcoin dominance increase. What I'm talking about with altcoin season has to do with coins that actually challenge the Bitcoin market cap. So, for example, Caspa, we're going to talk about a couple. I'm not going to say the names. You guys have to watch the video tomorrow night. But some of the coins we talked about, we could see them actually start their increase. They're newer projects, but they're getting a lot of excitement and VC money, and they could start rallying. But the problem is, like, for example, Caspa. Did I stay on Caspa here? Why did I go to Pepe? I don't want Pepe. I want Caspa. When we're looking at a project like Caspa, that again, I do think there's a retracement coming. As T-Shroom said, there's a falling wedge pattern on it. There
Rising
we go.
Wedge.
What did I say?
You said falling. It's okay.
Rising wedge. You're right. Let's see here. Market cap. We're sitting right now at market cap 1 billion. That's honestly doing well. 1 billion for Caspa, doing well. That still makes it nowhere close. Like Caspa rising has no effect on the Bitcoin dominance or the total 2 or total 3. That's noticeable. It technically has an effect on it because it's a crypto, but it cannot move markets very, very, very high. We're talking about the Ethereums, the XRPs, the Matics, the Cardanos, the ones that when they actually make significant movements, it affects those larger charts like the total 2, the total 3. Those are the ones we're seeing maybe not have explosive rallies right now. But when you talk about small caps, Caspa, which Caspa is getting the category, I don't know if we can call it small cap, getting over $1 billion in market cap, it's more of like a low cap, more so than a small cap. When you look at some of these other projects we talk about tomorrow, those are small caps. Some of them have like literally, I think one of them only had like $10 million market cap. I think maybe one was even lower than that. Those are the ones, hey, there could be explosive stuff that happens on those right now. Yeah. You want to continue to kind of monitor those. That's why following Seth and Archie is so valuable. Yeah. But altcoin season, meaning these larger caps start to go to the upside and outpace Bitcoin, that is not what we're seeing happen on the charts. That's not what we're seeing in the timeline. That's not what we're seeing happen in the news. You can go back to Brocam now, T-Shroom. Yeah. But that's kind of what we're talking about here with some of these coins.
Well, and I just wanted to point out, that when you look at the Caspa chart, right, this was early for Caspa. This was when, in some of the coins that we talk about with Crypto Seth, which, by the way, those are high risk, much higher risk. They're definitely not financial. We're not making financial advice there. We're saying the crypto market offers the opportunity to where there could be a new Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin has been a raging success. It's been like this alien technology that has just been dropped into our world, and people are loving it. Could that be replicated? The altcoins are saying yes. Right. And so they're all jockeying to try to be the next Bitcoin or try to be the next Ethereum. Right. And a lot are going to fail. Probably like 98% of them are just going to go to zero. Right. In the long term, just like all of the different like .com websites that went to zero in 2001. Right. So but the reality is there are going to be some that are successful from here that can bring real world value that can kind of mimic the success principles that have led to Bitcoin's meteoric rise in price and in societal standing. So a lot of the coins we talked about yesterday, they're kind of in this phase. Now they could absolutely still go to zero, right? There could be something that their value proposition kind of gets wiped out, their main thesis, or they could be scams, right? But that's where Crypto Seth comes in, because he has been in the industry so long. He has a pretty good edge on telling whether or not it's a scam. So you can at least eliminate that variable to a large degree. But Tim,
and the other thing I would say, I want to clarify, because by the way, we think super highly of Archie and Seth. The truth is, I trust them. Like that's something we talked about in the interview. Like they don't take coin sponsors. They remain completely neutral and fair when they're evaluating these projects. It doesn't mean they're going to be perfect. Like I guarantee you at some point down the road, some coin that Archie or Seth talks about is going to have a problem happen with it. The price is going to dump. It still isn't a like just blindly trust and follow, but I can tell you the integrity of Seth, the integrity of Archie, their dedication to their craft is phenomenal. Take them continuing with grains of salt that you continue to do your own research and think for yourselves. But there's no such thing as perfection. So don't hold people to a standard that if one coin that they at one point talk about ends up crashing, that you think that the whole thing is just thrown in the dirt. Like that's just not how that works. I was going to say, T-Shroom, while we about to transition into some more stories, more than likely, / Q&A. We want to definitely do Q&A. It's Saturday. I feel like we covered all the stories. We don't need to do any more stories. Let's do the answer to the trivia question. Let's do some Q&A. And also, while we have over 100 people, I think I saw 120 there for a second. Smash the like button. I think we're only at 50 likes. We could get up to 95 likes within the next 2 minutes easily. Go ahead and smash that like button if you are enjoying the content, if you are enjoying the show. T-shirt, what is the answer to the first year that we saw the dollar symbol?
Tim, the answer to the factoid is as follows. 1785. So you're wrong.
It wasn't even my second option.
Haven't been wrong in a while. You kind of canceled it out in your mind. You said that was too early. So the dollar sign was first used 1785. Here's another fun money fact. The official adoption of the dollar sign in the U.S. can be traced back to 1785 when it evolved from the Spanish symbol for pesos. It's believed the dollar symbol originated from the abbreviation PS, which was used to indicate Spanish pesos in the Americas. Gradually, the S came to be written over the P, eventually morphing into the dollar sign we know today. So,
wow. Okay.
That's
you
a lot
learn
of
new
fun.
things.
That's a lot
you
of
learn
fun.
new things. And to think about it, 100 years from now, it'll be obsolete because the dollar will die.
That's a good point. Maybe. I don't know that it'll be obsolete because it'll still be around the necks of rappers who are singing about it and stuff. What do you think about that? Do you think that rappers are going to start rapping about Bitcoin? I think that could be a big transformational
I think
moment.
100 years from now, people will hear rap songs and think that we were the corniest, weirdest people for enjoying this type of music.
Oh, okay. You have a.
Just think about it. Think about the music that was hot 100 years ago.
Mozart?
We are now like,
I don't know, Mozart.
Mozart was more than 100 years ago. Mozart would be like back like.
But your point is
ago.
like.
My point is that like every generation thinks that like the music of previous generations are like, don't get me wrong. I think the music of like the 70s, 80s, the 90s, great music there. But the whole thing is like most people believe like, oh, I live in the greatest age of music, and everything prior to this was just stupid. And especially again, you talk about 100-year differences. I don't think there's many people left in the world today whose favorite style of music is music from the 1920s. Could be wrong, but there's probably not a lot of them left.
That's true. It would have been when it's swing and ragtime songs. People can still appreciate it from time to time, but it's not like Mozart's a great example. It's timeless, right? And you do hear it quite a bit in movies, and those themes are still used across a lot of different cultural verticals. Well,
Eric Wallen says, Tim, you listen to Hallelujah music. Listen, but it's modern Hallelujah music.
Oh, Tim, did I tell? I think I might have already told you this, but there's like a Christian rap radio station in Gainesville now. So Tim moved out of Gainesville.
I didn't know there was enough Christian rap to make a whole radio station for it. Okay.
It all sounds like that. And brace yourselves. It all kind of sounds like that Kanye West Christian album. It all kind of sounds like that, kind of that trap in and out of like gospel themes, and it's not bad. I've been grooving to it whenever I drive, but around the city grocery shopping and stuff, which is not very often. Tim, you wanted to move past the stories, but there's a couple that I wanted to point out here because I share some initials with a very special person, and that is Taylor Swift. My initials, TS, and Taylor Swift,
the same person.
Has reportedly entered her billionaire era. We are entering our billionaire era, me and Taylor Swift, with success from the Eras Tour. So if you didn't know, Taylor Swift
fake news.
Very successful.
We all know it's because of the NFL deal.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all kind of tied in.
Listen, if you're a female singer, start dating an NFL player and you're going to have success out the wazoo.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We talked about the Microsoft story doing really well. This was the last one. Elon Musk to turn X into a full-on finance platform within a year. This is his quote. When I say payments, I actually mean someone's entire financial life, Musk said, according to audio of the meeting obtained by The Verge. If it involves money, it'll be on our platform. Money or securities or whatever.
Wait, who are you doing? Who's the
Musk?
He's not. No. Okay.
It's a very subtle South African accent, which is almost non-existent. So yeah, I'm not doing it very well.
It was a good accent. It just wasn't Elon Musk.
Yeah. So it's not just like sending $20 to my friend. I'm talking about like you won't need a bank account. So that's what him and remember the CEO. He's not the CEO. He's got a different CEO in there now, Linda Yaccarino, who's she comes more from the media side, right? She was kind of tapped because she's worked for NBC for a long time in kind of their C-suite. which probably a great pick to run a media, the future of media. But is she equipped to run a finance platform? That's kind of the question, that's popping up to me. So it could be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Finance, media, maybe they were always going to merge. Eventually, I don't know.
The real question is what will blockchain technology and crypto have to do with this? First, I mean, Elon is a crypto guy. Of course, he loves Doge, but he holds Bitcoin. I'm assuming he holds like Ethereum and some others. Would love for him to be a Cardano guy.
Yeah.
Love to see him in.
Yeah. Did you just mute yourself?
You're playing a song.
I'm playing a song?
Am I playing something?
It might be an ad. Here, let me close this.
Ad. It was an ad. It was an ad.
I can't hear it.
Well, I could hear
Did
the
it
whole
stop?
time. Yeah, I stopped it.
That was
My
your
bad.
ad.
It was
Okay.
my ad. I was blaming TCM. I deeply apologize. That was all my fault.
What that makes me realize
idiot this guy
is that we haven't had a technical difficulty in a super long time.
And that's why the content's been so bad.
Yeah.
Now we have the freedom to make this the greatest video ever made.
That's right.
Because of our technical difficulties. No, what I was going to say was, he obviously is a friend of crypto. And the concept of him saying you don't need a bank account, hopefully he's not going to just recreate the centralized banking system just via x.com. I would have to imagine that he's creating some form of decentralized finance, like his own DeFi protocol to house both fiat currency and cryptocurrencies. Because again, he's not adverse to crypto. He uses crypto. He loves crypto. You have to imagine there's going to be a large platform to store all types of cryptos on X.
Yeah. Well, this is kind of wwhere folks like us thrive, right? Trying to speculate on what the future could look like with these different cultural elements. What I would say, and kind of how they intersect with technology and finance, what I would say is we're talking about the man who for, I think it was about 5 years, people were telling him he was an idiot for trying to come out with an electric vehicle, an all-electric vehicle, right? And he just did it. He did it, and now Tesla's like literally in the top 10 valued companies in the world, right? Next to Eli Lilly and Berkshire Hathaway. Those are like his peer group companies that are similar market cap to him. So when he enters an industry of media, right, people called him an idiot again. They're like, why are you buying Twitter? Some really smart people, right, who have already seen him totally dominate the EV space, right? And they're calling him an idiot again, or at least they're questioning why would you buy Twitter. I myself, kind of like Elon, why would you buy Twitter? You're doing so much already. I think that he has had these. I mean, he also co-founded PayPal, right? So he's been thinking about the future of payments and transactions and personal finance for a long time. So I think that what he's going to be rolling out is probably equivalent in my optimistic or like leaning hunch, right, is that it's going to be equivalent to the electric vehicle. It's not going to be anything that the R&D teams at like Honda and Ford were working on, or PayPal or Circle, or maybe Circle would be working on it, right? Or Goldman Sachs or things like that. Like TradFi is going to see this and they're going to be like, "What?" Right? That's my urge. That's kind of my instinct with this. So we'll see. I don't know what that's going to look like.
Well, here's the difference, though, between Elon Musk and others. Other people always try to think about what does the next, couple of years look like, 5-10 years look like. I feel like my boy Elon Musk is constantly thinking about what the next 50 to 100 years look like. That's why you don't bet against him. Like when all these people, you said smart people said, "Oh, that's such a dumb move." I've learned Elon Musk doesn't do anything on a whim. He thinks through everything he does very, very heavily, and he sees a future that few others can see, and it's worked out for him well. And I'm sure he has some failures. I'm sure he has some things that he's said like, "Hey, it's not really what I thought that was going to be." But I the whole time I think that he had a lot of this planned out when he bought Twitter. I don't think he bought Twitter and then was like, "All right, what can I do with this?" I think he saw how beautiful Twitter could be if it had free speech. But then he also saw like, "Hey, man, like we're seeing other countries have these one website, one app that you can do almost everything in."
Like WeChat. Yeah.
We absolutely could do this worldwide with the Twitter platform now called X. Yeah. And now again, I just have to imagine like he's not going to recreate the bank. He's going to recreate finance world, and you got to go a direction of decentralization to do that. Like, I have to believe, especially with his value for free speech, his value for freedom, his value to see these things happen, his appreciation of Dogecoin, Bitcoin, other cryptocurrencies. I have to imagine that Elon Musk is thinking that he could better fit the world of decentralization and finance than the existing DeFi protocols. Like right now, like this is going to be the challenge ahead of him. But if anyone can figure this out, it's going to be Elon. We have a lot of DeFi protocols, but if we're being very honest, how many people in chat really fully trust all these DeFi protocols? You mostly trust your cold wallet, although even cold wallets from time to time have their question marks. But when you're looking at these DeFi protocols that are out there, the amount of outages, hacks, shutdowns, as beautiful of a concept as they are, there's still problems with the technology and problems with the security that make people still to this day probably prefer to leave their money on a centralized exchange rather than a decentralized exchange. Or potentially, even though banks are collapsing, people aren't making mass exoduses from their banks to run into DeFi. I think that Elon sees this and he has a plan in action to solve that problem. And I'm not betting against him. I'm not going to bet against him one bit whatsoever, because there are very few things in life that Elon doesn't think very heavily through.
Right. And of course, Twitter is not a publicly traded company anymore for X, but Tesla is. And Tesla right now is crazy discounted, right?
That is.
I want to see if it's in the discount zone. No. So it is south of the equilibrium zone here from Chart Prime. And it's definitely put in a new low here on the daily chart, right? Looking back at kind of post-summer pricing. I've been buying it. I've been buying Tesla because it's, I haven't been buying a ton of crypto because it's high, right? Prices are high. Stocks, Google and Tesla right now, pretty cheap. Just take a look at Google too while we're here, guys. And remember, we're the investing bros. We're not the crypto bros. Love crypto. Crypto's the future, right? But there's still going to be, a lot of profitability in selling ads and search engines, and also electronic vehicles. So that's kind of where I land on that. I am DCAing, these names, Google and Tesla, in addition to a lot of the crypto plays that I like as well.
Well, as we kind of wrap up some crypto talk, I'm going to look at Bitcoin. We're going to talk about college football here in just a second. But if you guys enjoyed the crypto talk, you're going to get a little bit more of it. Fun fact for anyone who started the show off. Do you guys remember early? Let's go to my screen here, T-Shirm. We talked about the support that Bitcoin was sitting on. And I said at the very beginning, going down to the 5-minute chart, do not be surprised after bouncing off of our little dynamic reactor. Don't be surprised if while we are live, we see price get up to about 34,200.
Called it.
Look at where we just rejected, 34,232. We're now moving to the downside. But right in that red wave, we bounced off that dynamic reactor, hit it. Shout out to Chart Prime and the Investing Bros for that call. That was beautiful right there.
Absolutely. And we had a question. Do we ever talk about HBAR, OC Pet Doctor? So my thing on HBAR is I own it. I've got a decent amount of HBAR because they have a very unique value proposition in that they're a hash graph, not a blockchain. And look, there's a few projects out there that are kind of operating on a non-blockchain technology that approximates the same type of function that a blockchain does, right? But the thing about Hashgraph is that they communicate that super well. And it's proprietary, right? So it can't be copied in the U.S. at least. And then the other thing too about Hashgraph is they have a list of 39 Fortune 500 type companies that are partnered with them. So they have two really and a good team, a team with a bunch of like experience in the right areas and stuff like that. But when it comes to their partnerships, right, and their value proposition,
what the heck?
You see that? That's a MacBook thing, it's a Mac thing. Whenever you do anything with like your hand, see there it goes. It's so crazy. It's the new operating system for Mac, and it's reversed for some reason. HBAR, it's a good buy, I'd say. I'd say
Yeah, I
it's a
mean,
good buy, not financial advice.
what I was going to say, there could be, if you go to my screen, there could be a little, again, I think the dip's going to come, but there's a
Ooh,
nice
look at
trend
that.
line on HBAR that we're not too far away from. Now, it hasn't had the same rally here as the other coins over the last couple of days. It's only got up to about 18% of a rally here, but a pullback, we're probably talking about being able to pull back down into the 4-cent range, 4.5-cent range for HBARians out there wanting to buy some more. Keep an eye here. Again, if we see significant loss, I expect the coins that had the bigger rallies to have bigger losses if a dip does come.
Mm-hmm.
So HBAR could be saved from that, continue to set a higher high here. But keep your eyes on that. Again, T-Shroom knows way more about the fundamentals. What you just said right there sounds like a great little coin for the future. Just know, like right now, it hasn't had the crazy excitement right now.
Yep.
Doesn't discredit that it could be something special down the road.
Yeah, but you buy low, right? You buy low, you sell high.
Buy the lows.
The other thing I'd say about HBAR, I'm bullish on it for this bull market that we're going into, right? But in the long term, I don't know. I think it has as much of a chance as like the AVAXs and the DOTs and the Cardanos of the world. I don't see it being like this super unique, like like super slept on gem. It's just I think it's going to do pretty well.
You got to take every coin by the cycle, like it's coming out. I think it could have a very good 2024, 2025 bull market. Let's just reevaluate, keep reevaluating the whole time, and keep updated.
And it raises a question: well, T-Shroom, what is the coin other than the obvious Bitcoin and Ethereum? What coin do you think in the long term is going to do really well? I think that coin's going to be Cardano. I think Ethereum is going to be shown that if they can't ship the dank sharding, or if they can't ship that and really make it scalable and cheap, then there is going to be a flippening eventually. And one of these names, it could be Binance, right? I don't know about that, but there could be a lot of other names. But I think Cardano is probably that one. Is for me, just based on everything I've seen.
By the way, Johan V just said, what green/red indicator was that? Go to my screen here, T-Shroom. Guys, this is the Chart Prime indicator. If you don't have it and you really want to be serious about trading and long-term investing with finding good opportunities to buy and sell, when you purchase it, again, we have a link in our description down below. So this is us, those two beautiful men.
Those are some good-looking guys.
Speaking about crypto. Click on the description. Come all the way down here, Chart Prime. When you click on Chart Prime with our link, don't go play around in there and then purchase. Click on this link and then make the purchase. You will get 45% off your first month or first quarter with our link. That's the best deal out there. This is the best indicator out there. It has been absolutely lethal for trades and buying and selling opportunities. You get a lot of different signals. The other cool thing, Johan, is that when you purchase Chart Prime, you don't just purchase the amazing indicators, you purchase the education that comes with it. They have so much stuff happening over there to make sure you know what you're doing when it comes to using their indicators and trading. So it is the best deal you're going to find out there, especially when you buy with our link. It is time, T-Shroom. It is time to wrap up the show. No, it's time to wrap up the show and talk college football. I was just going to say
the poll we put up.
No polls.
The altcoin season. When will the altcoin season be? Before BTC halving or after BTC halving? 71% of 66 people voting. So 66 people voted. 71% after the halving. So that's some good education for the noobs out there, just to kind of understand what to expect with these altcoins. Tim, let's get into the football of it all, which is really why people tuned in.
It is really. But you smash the like button before we do that anyway. If you are done and you hate football, that's all right. We love you. Have a great day.
Yeah,
we're going to get Tim's football picks because it's the weekend, guys, which means it's time to go touch some grass, to hug some friends and family, and watch college football and professional football. But we're just going to talk college football. Some great games lined up for today. We're going to get the Tim picks. I did decently last week. I think I only had a couple of them wrong.
Yeah, the Penn State and
I got that one wrong. But
I
think the other two upsets I predicted ended up happening, and the other wins, I did pretty well. I did pretty well last week. I'm just going to say. For this week, Florida State, Wake Forest. Wake Forest is not a good team. They're actually even going through a new quarterback system. So, Florida State, I think Florida State's fairly ranked at number 4. They win this game against Wake Forest pretty handily. Oklahoma, Kansas. Kansas program on the rise, but Oklahoma is pretty special this year. Watch for them if they can beat Texas again, be in the playoffs. That's a good team right there. Let's zoom in here just a little bit. Indiana, Penn State. Penn State, very disappointing loss to Ohio State, a game that they were in at moments and then let it slip away at the end. They will beat Indiana. Indiana has an okay defense, but not good enough to stop Penn State. I don't know if they cover the spread here. I'm going to say they don't cover the spread 31-5, but they do win the game. Georgia, Florida, T-Shroom. This one's for you.
Oh, man. Is that who they're playing? Jeez.
That is the Florida-Georgia game today. Georgia is favored by 14. The star tight end is out. Florida looks really good in the games they win, and then the games they lose, you're like, what the freak is happening? I think that this could be an interesting game that's closer than people think, but I think Georgia ultimately does win by more than 14. They win the game. But I don't be surprised this game goes into the third and fourth quarter still being very interesting, where it's like you got to watch every single play. That's my perspective there. BYU and Texas, that's pretty simple. BYU, they're older people. They are the whole team. The average age for BYU players is like 22 or 23, whereas the average for most other teams is sitting at like 20. It's because they go on mission for the first 2 years out of high school, and so they don't start playing college football until they're 20, 21 years old.
Yeah, I care a lot about that, Tim. That's really interesting.
That was my trivia question for you. Did you know why BYU players are so old? Also, your football is covering some of the things that I'm showing.
Mormons are just older, I think, is what it is.
I don't think that's it, but they are when they play college football.
That's how age works, right? Has
All right,
to do with your beliefs.
This to me, and I think this is where game day is today. The best game of the day, the hardest one to predict: Oregon versus Utah.
Where's game day this week? Sorry,
I don't even know what I want to say. Utah is good. They have one loss, but they're good. I am going to say it's at Utah. Utah gets the upset. I'm calling upset here. If it was at Oregon, I would be going with Oregon, but it's at Utah. That fan base is crazy. The team is really, really good. I'm going Utah. We're going Utah. All right, let's keep moving on. Pittsburgh, Notre Dame. That's pretty easy. Pittsburgh's not that good. Duke, Louisville. I really want Louisville to win. That would actually help Virginia Tech out very much so, but Duke is a good football team. They're ranked below Louisville, and Louisville is favored to win. So technically, I guess I'm calling for an upset, but Louisville is not as good as what their record says. Duke wins that game. Tulane beats Rice. USC beats California. Washington beats Stanford. These are pretty simple. Air Force beats Colorado State. Kentucky, Tennessee. What Kentucky team are we going to see? If Kentucky decides to play, they might win this game, but I'm going to stick with Tennessee. I think they do win that game. Ohio State beats Wisconsin. Ole Miss beats Vandy. Colorado, UCLA. Matt C., can you get a quarterback that plays football well? If so, you will win the game. Colorado's been on a little bit of a losing streak. They're kind of losing their mojo. I'm going UCLA. Mm-hmm. North Carolina over Georgia Tech. James Madison over Old Dominion. And the last one, okay, we're going to scroll back up a little bit because that's inappropriate. Oregon State over Arizona. That's the rest of the picks here. You can go off back to BroCam. Let me know in chat if you guys are football fans. Did I pick it correctly? Let me know your grievances in the comments below. Guys, that's all we have for you on this Saturday show. It's always a blast, our Saturday editions. Let us know afterwards in the comments. Is it altcoin season? Do you completely disagree with T-Shroom and myself? Are we going up from here? Is Bitcoin going to 40K? Is altcoins starting off the real bull market? Or do you completely agree with us that retracements are coming and it's still Bitcoin season? With that being said, though, we love each and every one of you, and T-Shroom's going to close us out.
I just wanted to point out for our international viewers, you may not know what college football is, and this is education season in crypto right now, right? So just wanted to say, for those of you who might not know, this was the Georgia-Florida game last year.
Oh my gosh!
This is kind of what college football looks like here in the United States. So just if you're tuning in from news, like maybe Norway or India or something, that was one of my favorite players from the Gators. The Gators are there in yellow. There he is. Right. That's Michael Sanders, super good quarterback. But all right, guys, if you know, you know. And I love the sport of
Michael
football.
Sanders.
Yeah, Michael Sanders is good. He's going state this year. All right, guys, have a good one.
Trying to make paper. Turn that better to cake. Money like Lego. Connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor, the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shroom's news got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. tryna make paper. Turn that batter to cake. Money like Lego. Connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.